some of these tweets that try to deny the starvation that's happening right now. So here, for instance, is that writer. Here's what that we were talking about. Here's what that writer had to say in a now deleted tweet. So Barry Malone tweets, "This is one of those images you instantly know will appear in history books of the future, and people will wonder how we allowed this to happen. It's a very thin mother, very thin woman, holding a skeletal baby whose backbone and ribs you can see, who is wearing a garbage bag instead of a diaper. And someone named Daniel Friedman thought it'd be appropriate to write underneath, 'I'm sorry the Palestinians' widespread practice of cousin marriage produces so many children with congenital conditions and diseases, but you cannot blame that on the Jews.'" Okay, so that's one example. This is so stupid. Okay, so random person, Michael Michelle writes, "Hi, Katie. Here is his healthy weight brother. Why didn't you show him or address why the mother is well fed? Strange." And so again, the smaller you are, the more you have to eat, the higher metabolism is. Sorry, that doesn't fly. And then we have a couple more examples of that just to show you guys. I mean, it's widespread. So here's Gazawood, the Pallywood saga. That's Pallywood is what people call anything that's actually factual and about how the crimes of Israel. It's Pallywood, like Hollywood. So this person writes, "Irony is when a well-fed woman like her screams that they haven't seen meat in 2 years. These people are desperate." And I actually feel bad for them because they're total monsters. But I feel bad for them. But I also think that they should be shamed and never allowed in polite society. Or honestly, they should be hounded wherever they go.
When your argument is weak, when you have no foundation to base and reject the criticism that's coming at you, it's easy to hit low-hanging fruit or even fabricate low-hanging fruit to distract. Talking about consanguineous marriages is bullshit. We've been there. We've never seen it. There's not a more solid institution on the face of this earth than a Palestinian family, period.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Even my extended Italian family, my extended Jewish half, does not have the familial loyalty, dedication, and service that I saw in every single Palestinian family. So that's just plain bullshit. The second point is when on the large scale, you know that your country's assassinating children, when you know that you're starving them, it's easy to see a photograph and bastardize it. It could be a photograph of a healthy person who has means, who has money, because I was there almost 6 months ago now, when a can of tuna fish costs $90 and a liter of gas, a quart of gas, costs $150. They may not have cars, but that's the only way that they can cook because there's no natural gas available at all. The number one fuel supply previous to this, we would go down the street and people who could afford food were cooking falafels and pita bread because they only had lentils and flour at that time. A falafel was $3. The average income in Gaza was at that time 50 cents a day. So you'd have to work all week just for the iftar meal, the only meal of the day. So there is some food available, but it's outwardly unaffordable. And I even have doctor friends I talk to daily there who have money, who tell me that they are starving because there just isn't food available where they're at. In the concentration camp in the shore, there's no food available. I forget, Feroze will know, he knows everything about this, but I think there were 600 or 700 trucks a day that were needed on October 6th and the years before of supplies that come into Israel.
Yeah, I mean, 600 trucks a day is what it took to get to the starvation plus diet that Israel had the Gazans on since 2007. And when Dov Weissglass was making his insane statements. No, yeah, exactly. Now
there hasn't been 600 trucks in the last 3 months.
Yeah, and now water also has to be trucked in. Virtually everything that a human being needs to survive has to be trucked in, whereas before it was, there was a market, there was some level of commerce. No, it's just outrageous. I mean, do cousins marry each other in Gaza? Yeah, there's a reason Eastern European Jews get Tay-Sachs disease too. I mean, that's just a disgusting thing to say. That's
if
somebody.
Right?
if somebody, I mean, I almost feel like, and I don't want to make light of it, but I almost feel like that was an attempt by that person. Your humor can be a defense mechanism. I feel like that was almost an attempt by that person to rationalize and ignore what was going on through some pretty sick attempt at humor.
And projection.
The idea that Palestinians are starving because Gazan cousins married each other is just that's an insult to stupidity. Gazans are starving because, as Benjamin Netanyahu very proudly announces all the time, they are not allowing anything to go into Gaza. I have to be honest. It's kind of it's a little unusual to see. Anybody who knows what Gaza is, it's a territory, say on October 6th, it's a territory of 2.2 million people with a fence around it and a sea on the west, under siege, under blockade. If you don't, and a place where, like I mentioned already, the food production system has been destroyed repeatedly. So if you don't allow, and 80% of the population is already dependent on humanitarian aid. So even forget all the destruction, everything else. If you stop allowing food into this territory, what would any rational person expect to happen? And then on top of that, the other thing that constantly gets said, Katie, is Hamas is stealing the aid, and they're it's really just Israeli propagandists that say this now, like people who just either are directly employed by the Israeli government or Alan Dershowitz, as far as I can tell. He seems to be the only person who's still willing to say it out loud. They say that Hamas is stealing the aid and using it to fund their war machine. Well, okay, these homemade weapons don't need much funding, and there's not much of a war machine there. But leaving aside, if that were true, like Mark mentioned, the just astronaut, and I want people to know Mark is not exaggerating when he said a can of tuna cost $90. Right now, the UN has reported, and these are things that are usually based on surveys of markets. Right now, 1 kilogram, about 2 pounds of flour, costs $100. Which means it's totally unaffordable. Obviously, nobody can afford that, except if 20 families manage to scrounge 400 shekels together or 250 shekels together and go and fine, okay, yeah, they get 1 kilo of flour to share between 50 people or something. It's completely ridiculous. They won't die that day; they'll just die a few days later instead.
That's a slice of bread per person.
Yeah, at the most. But yeah, so it's just completely ridiculous to claim that this is happening for any reason other than the fact that the U.S. and Israel have blocked any aid and any commerce and anything from going into Gaza, have blocked Gazan fishermen from fishing in the sea, and have blocked Gazan farmers from farming in the east of Gaza. That's just I would love to hear somebody actually try to argue the point for more than 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just either such bad lying or such rank stupidity. I mean, I think what happens is it rots your brain. Like, people are kind of lobotomized by Zionism. So it's not, you don't have to have been a doctor or studied biology or anatomy that intensely to understand that adults have more calorie reserve, more fat reserves that they can live off of. That it's not illogical for a child to waste away more quickly than an adult. I mean, don't people know how hard it is? How many adults are constantly trying to lose weight and can't lose weight? And kids need to be fed constantly. I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
The caloric demand per pound on a child is significantly greater than it is in an adult.
Yeah. And I mean, it's almost like dumbfounded. I can't believe that I'm even saying this. I know people are probably like, why are you wasting your time on this? But who knows how many people are actually buy into this ridiculous. It's very stupid, but I'm so surprised by how dumb Zionism makes some people who are otherwise there's this term PEP, progressive except on Palestine, but there's also SEP, smart except on Palestine, where people who are usually rational beings become total brain dead zombies. So yeah.
I mean, you see it whenever somebody mentions Hamas, right? We bombed the hospital because of Hamas. You're like, okay, wait, but even if Hamas, they're not, no one has ever seen Hamas in the hospital. So even if they were, is the right answer to bomb the hospital?
Right.
That doesn't seem right. I mean, if that's true, wouldn't it also make sense for Hamas to bomb Israeli hospitals?
Right.
I mean, certainly there are Israeli soldiers in Israeli hospitals. Nobody accepts that. It's completely crazy.
Plus,
and
it's a violation of the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
it is. But like when you say that to somebody, they say, oh yeah, I never actually thought about it. And you're like, yeah, thought. If you thought about it for 2 seconds, but again, you meet people where they are and okay, fine. But yeah. But anyway, sorry, I didn't finish the thought before. But like, if the claim is that Hamas is funding its war machine through the deprivation of food to regular Gazans and then selling it at these hugely inflated prices, anybody who thinks about it for half a second can come up with the solution to this problem, which is to flood Gaza with aid. Then it won't cost anything.
Right.
If there's sacks of flour all over the place, why would you pay Hamas $100 for a kilo of flour? That's just dumb. If there was water all over the place, why? This is just silly. Like it's just transparently silly. The whole thing is absurd. And you kind of have to wonder about news anchor. I mean, I can understand like a normal human being just listens to the news randomly. Okay, that's probably right. But when a news anchor is sitting there talking to this or that Israeli flunky, right, and they can't think of it, like these are smart people. They went to journalism school. They're not idiots. They can think on their feet, but they're just choosing not to. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, but like people like Dana Bash and Jake Tapper are pretty standout examples of that.
Perfect examples of journalistic malpractice.
Yeah, journalistic malpractice. Yeah, blood on their hands.